All right, good morning. Man, I wanted to long so bad off that one tick poke, but I really don't want to open a position going into the open. I don't want to get hit with the volatility at the open in case it gets a little whipsawy or something. But it looks so good. Second leg down, little accumulation, one tick lower, fail breakout, closes up high, looks juicy, juicy, like so juicy. But I don't know how the market's gonna hold on with the CPI numbers that just came out and going into the open. Like, I just don't know if I want that position going into the open. Well, I know I don't. I do, but I don't. So I guess I'm just not going to. Technically never fired on the 5 minute, which is where the pattern really looked the juiciest anyway. But like 4 minutes going into the open, probably should just wait. Kind of what I'm thinking. Well, it's a good thing I would have got stopped out even before the open. We checked just above yesterday's high. I mean, you would have thought that this would have got caught before now if it was going to. I mean, we got the spike right at the economic release, but for that strong of a spike, we should have got some form of catch before now. We'll see what happens right at the bell ring, but maybe we come down, test the moving average, we get a little bit of volatility, and ultimately it keeps going down. Normally I would want to have seen buyers step in by now. Losing the moving average on the lower time frame. 5 minutes already done, 2 legs down, and even teased a really nice buy opportunity there and still failed. So that ain't looking so good. So we'll wait. We'll see what happens the first 5 minutes. Right, so we're reacting right off the moving average. Got a little gap up. Let's see what happens here. I'm overly cautious though about a long, to be honest. See if they hold. I'm not feeling it. Should have happened before now. Reacted at that like maximum cheeky spot. One tick above that like cluster here. Yeah. Some indecision. Can we find a new playlist? All right. We're chilling. Need better vibes for Friday. Let's try him. Are we gonna gain here? We get back up over 4,700. Yep. So we've got 1 attempt long, 2 attempts long. This is the 3rd attempt long. Oh no. I don't like 3rd attempts, even though it is reacting off the moving average fairly nicely. I'm not gonna buy off it though. Let's try this one. The retest is trying to hold. So far. Well, objectively, if we hold this level and start to come higher, probably we'll test above here. Or at least around the same swing. Probably above though. But if we fail, we're retesting here, probably a move back down. Retest here and then here. But ultimately, if we get back down that low, you know, that's not what people are looking for continuation, so longs are going to be even further away from there. Kind of how I'm thinking. It's either going to get caught and hold pretty much where it is right now, or it won't. My thinking. Price action on the 5-minute chart off the moving average doesn't look that bad right now. I just wish it would have happened off 2. So there it is, or above that swing. Makes sense. Next one's up here. It does look like we are going to hold. Now that we've regained this much. We're gonna want to, if it does break through, we're gonna want to see it go through with some, you know, ambition. Don't want it to struggle there. Hmm. Didn't even make it back to the high. That was a lot more sell pressure from that location than I realized, like anticipated. I was watching to see if it failed the breakout for a nice mean reversion trade, but not from there. I definitely was not anticipating the slowdown to happen from there. Did we break through low a day here? We did. We're checking below right now. So that was a nice strong trap push. So I fully expect from that further price action down. Like we're looking at, should get lower prices now. Morning, man. You thought it was still pre-market? You lost track of time. Oh, I see. You were focused. I was looking to fade the extension, the second attempt at the high, but I didn't. It made quite a bit of a higher low. I was looking for it to come either double top or go a little bit higher and fail, but didn't get her. Nice, man. Good shit. Yeah, you were zoned on that price action. Was quite a spike we got off that CPI news. I was watching to get a potential 2-leg for the move up and then look to reverse my position on the failure to break, but neither of them set up the way that I wanted. We ended up pulling back more than I wanted. I was watching here for the long, and then it didn't get as high as I wanted for the short. So I actually didn't get a trigger on either one. But that's okay. Back down, testing this high. We gained up. First test back. No, I wasn't. I had the markets open. I was doing some stuff, getting ready. I showed up basically as the 9:30 announcements were coming. But I didn't do anything off of it. Hesitating here on this moving average, retesting the underside of what we lost. It's our low one. That's first attempt. Decent failure pattern. We're trying to not regain this moving average, but can't take a low one. I was really hoping this would have popped up a little bit first and then rejected. Looks like it might just go. Yeah, it was a good location. Lined up nicely with the 5-minute chart. I did expect much lower prices. Was close to giving me the signal I wanted. Testing through here. It's definitely, I mean, not too interested in longs down here at all. Other than like if the right pattern presented for a slight mean reversion trade because we're getting like extended, but the like context wise, we barely tested above yesterday's high, like literally just wicked it a tiny bit, and we rejected quite aggressively now. And the only reason that we got that high at all was right at the volatility spike from the news. So maybe we do see lower prices on the daily chart. Maybe we go back down and test near yesterday's low. You're watching for gap fill first, I guess, which is pretty much yesterday's low. Oh, was there one coming at 11? Man, I'm gonna have to start using your calendar instead of mine, because mine definitely didn't have anything at 11. I only had the 9:30. Oh yes, I got you. Got you. Yep. Came out green, higher than they expected. Yeah, that's not one that I've actually ever looked at before, to be honest. It clearly, the market was awaiting that 11 o'clock, though. Again, we got 11 o'clock volatility. The 2-star ones, or the yellow ones for your calendar, I haven't put a whole lot of attention into in the past, but maybe I should just be aware when they're coming out more so, just because, I mean, that was clearly, you know, volatility from it. But yeah, in the past, unless it was like a red event or a 3-star event, I kind of just glazed over it. Didn't put it in like any sort of reminder to be aware of. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Market tried to project the similar area that pushed us down before. Five-minute tag that moving average again. It's trying to get rejected. I'll be right back 1 sec. I help my wife with something. All right. We gotta make another attempt up here. Wonder if we're gonna respect some sort of line here. We have a nice spike then channel maybe. Not much for me to do here. It's trying to hold the bottom, so this is either a quick spike up and it's going to be a trap over this little accumulation and we'll go back down relatively quickly without a second attempt, or maybe we will check a little bit higher first. But those are the two ways that I would expect it to go from here. if it was going to act as a trap, wouldn't want to see really much hesitation or pullback. It would be, I'd like to see it just go straight through. Playlist had a dead spot in it. Yeah, that's pretty much how I'm looking at it too. Like, the long opportunities for me are not like set up correctly, that's for sure. But neither are the downward ones. It's like, yeah. Like, it looks to me like we want to go down, like the market's trying to go down. But yeah, there are definitely just things in the way. It's not really setting up good for me in either direction right now, to be honest. This was close, like really close. I was watching and waiting for it because I knew it was going to be the first retest of the moving average to see if we were going to fail. But just needed to see. I mean, maybe that's me being too picky, but for now, it's like I gotta just stick to my strategy that's super picky, but it's a good one to record again. It's like it, like, because literally if this sell-off candle would have went 1 or 2 ticks higher first before it sold off, it would have triggered my entry, but didn't. Close, but not close enough. Man, this playlist is scuffed. It keeps getting dead spots. We gotta find a new one. Uh, we're kind of coiling now. Which I'm definitely not really interested in, if I'm being honest. I think though, if the coil continued long enough to allow the 5-minute chart to make one more attempt up, push down, first attempt long, and then it failed. Second attempt, if it didn't go like much higher at all, and started to fail, that would trigger a nice two-legged move opportunity to get short for the downside. But it would have to fail at a similar level as this one for me. I wouldn't want to see it spike through it or fail under it. But that's about all. And that's if it happens that way. For now. So I guess I'll just be patient. There it is. We got one tick so far. One tick so far. There's a couple ticks. All right. Still okay as long as it doesn't go pretty much any further than that. Still trying to go higher. See if we get a good price action signal here. Shows us weakness. That doesn't look like weakness. Yeah, she might be just showing me that my analysis was incorrect. We're gonna have liquidity above this area here. Yep. I like the area as well. It gives me a good candlestick pattern. Showing some weakness at that liquidity point. Yep. Might have missed my chance. Not perfectly what I was looking for. I did give a shooting star. Nice, good stuff. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it went to 95.75 to the tick. Yep. Did give a shooting star to short under. I'd be looking for this to be a little bit of a bigger trade if it sets up right. If we can hesitate here a little bit and do a second attempt, I'd be wanting to hold it for a larger move down for the 5-minute chart, but we'll see if it sets up. It is showing some weakness here. Here's our second attempt. No double top, no 1-tick extension yet. The longer it sits here, the better for me, because it's gonna, if it closed that 5-minute candle as a small candle up here, it would be very good for them, a check above and rejection. But let's see. If it goes off a lower high, then I guess I'll miss out, but that's all right. Retest failed and it did go lower. Yeah, might just go off of that lower high. Same thing that happened here. We've regained this moving average on both charts now. The lower highs, man. Gives me everything I want for location and context and start of price action, and then the lower high gets me, keeps me out. An awful lot of those lately. Or higher lows. Longs are trying to hold these moving averages, but definitely it didn't happen quick, that's for sure. See what our attempt at the swing high here looks like. It is looking, you know, I mean, they are holding the high that they gained. They did hold the moving average. It's tricky. This is the second attempt here. We did get a double top exactly so far. Ooh. All right then. Okay then. That happened quick. Very quick. That candle closed and then it just went boom boom. So technically now that was my miss. Should have shorted one tick below right there. But I was not prepared for the time for it it to happen quite like that. There was no time. I needed to be way more ready for that. Finally actually got the double top. We got the instant rejection, nice candle close. That was the short entry right there. And this presentation and this setup would 100% be looking for like a larger move down. Because the 5-minute chart has broken. We technically did a 2-legged move up, tried the third time, failed the same high. This market should go lower. Should be a big trade. I mean, it's already a big trade. It's what I was waiting for. Perfect trade, really. That was just my mistake. I wasn't stalking hard enough. I wasn't ready with the button. That candle closed as the signal candle and the other candle went so fast, like. But I mean, you know, it's not, I missed it, but it does again help grow my confidence that I was patient this whole time and I did finally get the setup I wanted to see, and it should push a new 5-minute low. Like, that's the trade. That's what we'd be going for. Yeah, exactly. The analysis was right on. Yeah, I was not fast enough. I was not prepared. I didn't even have my hand on the mouse. I was like watching, and then it just like basically flickered and it was done, and I was like, ah, shoot. Probably get some profit taking at the low, but ultimately full expectation for it to make a new low underneath 85. That would be the reason behind the trade. Yeah, I actually have a friend who is he's almost done a physics and math degree, and he's pretty good at coding, and I've asked him many times. I was like, man, you think you could code a bot to trade my strategies? And he looked into it a couple times, and he just like, he got overwhelmed with all of the, like, he doesn't know anything about trading or chart reading or like technical analysis. He knows nothing. So all the words and everything, he was like so lost. So yeah, the algo wins for sure. That was a great trade. Great trade analysis right there. So got your full target. Finger. So we had a nice one-time push all the way to liquidity. Perfect. That trade literally couldn't have worked any better. That is like that's what you want to happen off of that trade entry. Now, because we did have a one-time push, we are fairly extended from the moving average though, so I'm not interested in a momentum trade to the downside off of that. If we got a two-legged pullback, then I'd be on board, but not a one. So our trap level held out. We knew we were short, like if we got a good situation, that was it. We now have another new low. See if we get a two-legged pullback to line up with a moving average touch for a trend extension trade. That would be what I'm stalking next, I think. That's all I could do. Hopefully it'll break lower here by a tick or two and then fail and go up one more time. So don't want the high one, or the low one, sorry. Mind you, I would play a potential mean reversion though off this extension because we're stretched if presented right. But I'd rather a two-legged pullback for another larger move down. Broke through our low, retesting it. No extension up for the high 2 or low 2 opportunity. Not yet, anyway. Looks like the market wants to check down first. Tried to accumulate a little longs here, didn't amount to even making a higher high candle though. So we have quite a push. We are stretched away from the moving average. We have a nice inside candle close, although it did close a little bit higher than I would have wanted. If this next candle fails the low and then reverses and closes up green, we could have a mean reversion back up in. But we'll see. I was looking for a continuation trade to the downside, but it looks like they want to check below instead of doing 2 legs up. It's already gone too far for me to be interested in mean reversion now, because this would have to close all the way back up, and then my signal candle would be so big that I'd only be getting like 1-to-1 for back to the moving average, so not interested. Gonna check below our 930 volatility. I think we just did, right? Yeah, we went under it by like 1 tick. Look at that. Uno tico. Does look like it is trying to do what we wanted to see, but the candle's so big that, and we're 3 minutes away from that candle close too. Closed back up in, failure to break out. Looks decent. Came back down, gave a cheaper entry. Trade presentation, that was a 5-minute trade, so I don't really want to just limit by a retest. It's based around the candle closing back up in, and 1 minute left on this candle, and now it might not close up in. We're gonna check below. Double bottom so far. Yep. Good debate. That's why I have to wait for the candle to close. Because boy, did that close completely opposite of what it looked like 2 or 3 minutes ago. Definitely is some bullish pressure down here. We've tried a few times. It is a decent 2-bar after that small extension. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, that means that you were stalking like the trades that you were looking for. Like, you were ready, man. You were immersed. Yeah, exactly. You knew what you wanted, man. You were waiting. I'm a little bit torn here, to be honest. I like that we finally broke into this liquidity spot, and then you know, we had some nice buys that showed up, and then we tried one more time and we closed back up in as a nice 2-bar, and we did get a little bit of a follow through, but at the same time I knew that there was a lot of negative momentum, and we've done a 2-legged pullback now basically to the moving average. So I'm like, I'm getting like 2 signals almost, you know, and I don't really know which one I want. So I'm kind of not doing anything. It doesn't look like the greatest 2-legged pullback visually. And also I know that we did break into liquidity. There was some buys down here. We're like extended quite a ways away from the moving average. Like the long makes more sense to me than a short. In theory, if the 2-bar reversal after the liquidity poke plays out, we'd be looking for a break up here, a break of 87. Come back and retest what we lost. Check above this doji candle. Kind of, it would all line up probably with the moving average and stuff around there too. Would be the premise of the trade. Now we've actually hit the moving average. Stalling again. The long, like I said, makes more sense to me than the short, but too many conflicting opinions and the price action not to be like super clear, so I'll just be patient. It's a good time for me to go pee and walk away for a sec. Another attempt up, double top. So far. Little hanging man. Some congestion up here. There we go. Just trying to fail the breakout there. A lot of overlap through here. Definitely did not sell off like I would anticipate, but also didn't buy up like I anticipated either. I wasn't really leaning towards a short here anyway because of the location, but I would have expected the buy up to have been quicker. Well, maybe sellers have came down or are willing to sell cheaper now. Right underneath those 1 minute little swings. If they were going to make a higher low, that would be the spot. It'd be where most of the liquidity would be, other than obviously the very low, but for a higher low underneath those. We have our reversal top. Second big push. They're pretty equal pushes. This will be the third. We break a low. Yep. What are you doing, cat? Get off my disc. Go on. Let's get a little test down. Okay, double bottom so far. Now if we reverse and closed high, nope. Getting closer and closer to yesterday's low. We didn't stop at the top. Tried. We kept going. The next spot's the low of this range area. Maybe the volume high area in the middle, but I generally use the tops or the bottoms. Strong push. Yep. Yep. Market had, you know, lots of, you know, I figured that we'd get a test of the low, especially if our news volatility failed. If the news volatility started to get top heavy and started failing, I mean, there's a very high probability we come all the way back down. And if the market comes back down that low, then just looking at it visually of what the daily candle now has done, probably a pretty good chance we're going to come test the next day, the previous day's low. And if it failed to break above the high, probably will peak below the low. See if there's business to be done below the low, or maybe it stays inside, but this was a flub by me as well. I visually, I didn't count this the way that I'm supposed to. And the second low entry was actually here. But at the time I thought it was the third because I was like 1, 2, 3. Okay, I don't want 3. But this one, these candles didn't go higher than the original, so they actually don't count. But I was too on the fence. Instead of stalking the short entry, I was like torn between the longs and shorts, and then it did still present properly, but I miscounted, not reading it correctly. Visually, my eyes were looking for potentially 2 different things, but that was the second low opportunity off the moving average, the same thing that I normally look for on a 2-legged pullback, but miscounted. Was too focused on trying to decide if I wanted to play a mean reversion. circle it for the review. I need to come up with a filtering system to not, this happens so often where I'm torn between which side I want to take. I need to come up with a some form of filter that says, you know, you're only looking for X or X, you know, X or Y, depending on the context. So I don't try to like fight myself so hard on which I want. We have a two-legged pullback right now with a one-tick poke, but we have a big potential exhaustion bar with a small inside. Went one tick under that hanging man. Got bought up instantly. I feel like it's probably a trap. Holding that one tick though. There it goes. The failed two-legged pullback, especially off the one-tick poke, is generally a great signal that your reversal is starting to happen. It's better to take the opposite. Same reason that I thought I didn't want to get in here was because I thought it was 3, not 2. And like if 2 fails, it's generally going the other way. Especially this one was a one-tick poke and then even tried, so it was like extra strong that if it failed, it was like a really good long signal. Yeah, exactly like that. Been noticing this a lot lately, but I don't have a trade. Like it's not part of my 1, 2, 3 trade. It's just noticed that if the two-legged pullback fails, it's often a great long signal or opposite signal, sorry. especially because we saw how extended far away we are. Done multiple legs down. We're really far away from the moving average. Looked like a trap. Coming off a trap, there's trap shorts. Reclaim the moving average, first test back. They can hold this and go. Could be the start of that. This is our first retest of this underside. Looks good. We got a double top happening. Didn't really close that negative. Right back up. The way that's trying to hold the curl like this generally is a good long opportunity. Especially coming out of that trap, like it's kind of the start of a V. They quickly regain it, hold the moving average, next push back up. Be looking for a hold all the way back up here. Retest this moving average, test the swing high. This pause though after that push doesn't look super good. Definitely would want this pullback to hold above 76. It's not a bad long dip right there, actually. Still looking for this to come up here. Yes. 1226. Thank you, sir. Yep, the V pattern playing out. That right there, man. Like so many times now. Starts off with the high two or the low two. The low two fails, turns into a trap, regains moving average off a very quick move. First test back, holds the moving average, boom. That is actually one of my setups right now, but it didn't have the prerequisite with the amount of candles I needed in a row first to really show the opposite momentum. But just looking at it visually, I was like, the momentum's there. You know, I wanted to take the long, but right now, currently for the strategy, it didn't quite match. So I can feel this happening a lot with a lot of trades that I want that are like, everything's telling me to do it. This is visually what you want, but it doesn't have like all of the check boxes on the prerequisites. So the trade goes by. That was not the case here. This was just a mistake. And this one was a mistake too. This one I just was not quick enough. This one didn't check all the boxes. And this one now didn't check all the boxes. It was close, not quite. But visually everything made sense, and context wise it was doing exactly what you would want to see for that to happen. And now we have our V. And in all realistic approach, it should break above that swing point. Should test above our 85. We might get some profit taking and stuff up here, but ultimately that would be the goal. And my understanding is it happens that way specifically because of trap traders. The shorts that are trapped, the laggards, late shorts. Would have expected this to, I mean, I still expected to break this high. I was watching through here for a reason to get long, but I didn't really get one. I know we are bumping our head into like resistance, but it should check above it, at least just check above it. But I'm not gonna force what's not there. Was the first candle to make a high. No other candle had made a high over the previous candle, which was definitely not the entry I was looking for. It just it respected the moving average, I guess. I will say though that this week really did kind of kick my butt as far as like I have discipline to not take the trades that I shouldn't take, but man, I'm just missing too many trades that I should be taking. Not even the ones that I'm like reading the price action correctly and I'm like, oh, it looks good, but the ones that are actually strategy 1, 2, or 3, like this one and this one. This one was super close, like so close, but they're just misses. Like they're just as big of as a mistake as taking a trade that's not there. I'm glad that I'm not FOMOing into a whole bunch of randomness, but really kind of sloppy performance this week as far as getting into trades that I should have. But that aside, I do feel like this week, visually, my eyes were really looking at only looking for one setups 1, 2, or 3. So that's good. That's an improvement. Didn't FOMO into anything I shouldn't have. Did make a mistake one day with the entry rate at 11, which was my fault. And I also did complete my monthly review throughout this week, which was really good. I've systemized my approaches a little bit more, and I can see that they're working. I just need to fucking do it. I'm gonna go back through this week tomorrow and tally. I want to tally up all of the trades that I was supposed to take properly, 1, 2, or 3, and then go through them and show and then manage it on paper exactly how I should have managed it if I was in the trade, like how I have wrote down on my strategy, the exact, managing criteria, and then show myself what should have happened this week. Like, this is what should have happened if I did everything like the way that I was supposed to, and only that. It's strange, like I kind of have the ES trading on a pedestal a little bit. Like I don't have the confidence in it yet. It doesn't, it's so, like, I trade Bitcoin futures, as those are the two products I trade, and I don't have that problem at all in my Bitcoin futures trading. I did like 8% this week in Bitcoin futures, I'm pretty sure. It was like 8%, 9%. It's crazy. And only doing strategy 1, 2, it's the same 3 strategies. It wasn't even a lot of trades. I think it was like 4 trades. But something about this market, I definitely, I'm more timid, I guess. So there, we finally did get our break of the level. So V played out. From our anticipation down here, these 2 events that happened, we did get our final target now. So now we've broken into opposite pool of liquidity. I suspect that we'll find some profit taking relatively soon, and then a retest of the moving average, depending on how far it goes before that happens. Retest these tops, retest the moving average. So a good learn week anyway. Good learning. Decent discipline practice for not trading, but not good discipline practice for trading when I should have been. Yes, you're absolutely correct. That is the difference. I trade on I use the exact same chart setups, but on Bitcoin I use a larger time frame. I'm not trading on the 1 minute chart. So instead of using the 1 minute, 5 minute setups, I'm actually using 15-minute hourly. So 15-minute chart is my execution chart. and hourly is my like confirmation. It's the exact same thing I'm doing here with 1 minute, 5 minute, but I'm doing it on a much larger time frame. You nailed it. Yep. Yeah, you could be, that could be, you might be right, man. That might be, what I end up adjusting to. I guess for some reason I want, like, because I only trade the first, and I mean, the reason that I only trade till 1 o'clock my time, or usually 1:45, was for, that is a rule that I developed a long time ago, because I was an aggressive momentum scalper when I developed that rule. And the only trades that we're taking were like trend extension trades. And basically the first couple hours of the day was when that really thrived. And after that, you know, I had much lower success rate. So I ended up really pushing to only trade that first little bit, which then led me to trading short, you know, much shorter time frames to try to be able to get trade signals within that time only. But nowadays I trade, you know, 3 different systems. I mean, one is like an aggressive momentum, one is like a standard, you know, just trend following, and then one is a reversal mean reversion. And those setups happen all around the clock. It seems like there's lots of setups, and I look back on the charts that just, you know, they happen all over the place. But yeah, you could be correct. Slowing down the time frame might work better for me. If I were to change this to 2 minutes, what kind of signals did we get? So we this ended up turning into a low 1, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles in a row. Excuse me, but it was into the moving average. This setup here ended up still being a nice double top with my signal bar was very big though. Really big, but similar. This one actually was way cleaner of a 2-legged pullback, like way cleaner. Entry right there below our signal bar. The stuff down here wasn't as clean looking, but yeah, something to think about for sure. I don't want to change too much quite yet. I want to give it a little bit more time, because like I said, I've got 1 month in now. And I've already made a couple adjustments to my strategies to like earlier this week when I finished my monthly review that I just noticed were like basically repetition, the same thing happening every time or almost all of the time. So I made very, very minor tweaks. They're still the same 3 setups, but it's basically the only thing I changed is where I deploy them more so than actually changing the setup. It was more about the location, like be very wary of the location. Don't be trying to take a mean reversion trade in the middle of the day and like in the middle of the price action, you know, wait for it to always, it has way better success if I do it when it's far extended, you know, stuff like that. I also found that my trend extension trades work better when there's trap traders involved, meaning market was trending in a direction and aggressively takes a sharp turn in the other direction. If you can get the trend extension trade to go with the new trend, it often goes much quicker, much faster, and much cleaner that way. No, I appreciate it, man. That's why I'm glad you're here. I appreciate the thought and help for sure. Always trying to improve. Might be finally getting our little slowdown for the market to come back and retest. Yeah, because to execute off the 1 minute chart, I need to be much faster. That's for sure. I need to be like honed in. I need to be stalking what I'm looking for to happen, and then, you know, be ready much faster. I noticed gotta get immersed, man. I noticed such a reoccurring theme in my Bitcoin trading over the last 2 months that I'm trying extremely hard right now to break. My account basically goes up 5 to 10%, and then I go down 5 to 10%, and I go up 5 to 10% and down 5 to 10%, literally over and over and over and over and over. Like, and it's so funny, like as soon as it starts to get back down to like a certain number, we'll say, that I'm using as like a scale, I see that number, and all of a sudden I get super disciplined, and then I climb that account back up to like where it should be, and then all of a sudden I go on a losing streak again, and then I'm like, oh, okay, gotta be more careful, and then I make it back again, and then I lose it and I make it. I've done this cycle now like, I don't know, man, 5 or 6 times in the last couple months, and it really shows me that clearly I can make the money and I know what I'm doing, kind of, but I give it back for carelessness. Like I get a little bit of a cushion, and then I trade sloppy, or like I don't stay as disciplined, and then as soon as I get under pressure again, I get more disciplined and I do well. But I need to remove the sloppiness once I get the cushion. But yeah, the cycle, it's crazy how many times that cycle has happened in the last few months, like to a T too. Like, it's such a psychological war for me, because like it's almost the exact same numbers too. It's ridiculous. So like if I can make the strategies work when I'm supposed to, you know, I get it to come right back, and then I do a couple silly things, or like I say, oh, it's good enough, or it looks good enough, or, you know, I force what's not there because I get impatient. And then the account goes back down. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It's got to be the best and exactly what you're looking for, and that's it. It's been good though. The last month and a half for me now that I got to get back at this, I do feel like I have made some good mental progression. I do feel like starting to maybe see things a little bit better. I'm much more disciplined with a lot of things. Just need to get more disciplined at actually taking the trades when they're there. But it's good. All right. Well, it's 12:58. I'm gonna bounce on out of here. Good trades today, man. Good for you. You went 3-0. Did you get 6 points today? 6 points or 8 points? You did well. Yeah, that's a good Friday right there, man. Good way to go into the weekend. Had a little spike there. It's coming right back though. Ideally, probably we'll see it come back here, but who knows. We had some good reading today. We had a good approach to the market today. Definitely we're on the right side of the moves mentally, and like what we were looking for, had good understanding about pretty much every move. We just didn't capitalize on them, that's all. The original trade here, the market, we had that nice spike from the news. We knew that the pullback had already gone, like, not really the ideal situation for what I was looking for continuation to the upside. So I was more interested in shorts. Didn't get an opportunity up here. I was looking for actual extension or at least a double top. Didn't quite get it. We sold down. That's fine. Watched through here for a move. This first pullback was watching in through here for a reason to get short, hopefully either getting a double top or a small extension and failure. Didn't get either. It held the higher low or the lower high off that inside candle, sold off. So no real signal there, but good understanding of looking for the right trade direction. Nothing through this consolidation. We got a spike back up. We were watching for a short entry up here, and when we had the double test right here, we got a double top to the tick, so we can take that. We got a nice clean signal bar off it, closing on its lows. And if I go back and watch through the replay, this candle like snapped down and closed like that, and the next one started to go all like bang bang right then and there. I needed to be like watching the clock and ready to just hit the button the second that candle closed nicely like that. So we missed out on that nice move. Now the principle behind this trade was that the 5-minute chart had rolled over. This was the first attempt back up off of like a larger two-legged pullback. So if this failed, we should get a new low on the 5-minute chart. Market one timed straight down beautifully for that trade. Couldn't have been nicer. The management for this trade is if you get spike candles, you can trail the candles, but ideally you want to wait to trail the swing points that's created. So if you don't get a swing point all the way down, take the trade out on extension, which was down there. So boom, we would have taken it out on extension right there. Now, if you would have been even more conservative with it, you could have trailed your swing points and you could have kept this trade for even longer. You would have ended up getting stopped out down here, but there's no way I would have taken it out on extension because that would have been a very large point wise win. Like what was like 10 points. Yeah. 10, 11 points on extension. It's a phenomenal trade. Exactly. The trade played out exactly like it should have. Then through here, this did form a nice two-legged pullback. However, I was a little bit jaded and my brain was kind of looking at it a little bit different because I was seeing this. Now I knew that we were getting down here closer to gap fill. We were now into liquidity underneath our news stop out levels, which was right here. So profit taking and stuff was likely at that location. So when I saw that big, two bar form after we had found some buys there, I was like, man, it's a decent mean reversion trade, but the bar is pretty big. Looking at the moving average and location and stuff, I was probably only going to get 1-to-1 if I was lucky on a move back up. So I didn't take anything through there. But because of that thought process, I kind of stopped looking for a clean short. And I ended up counting this a little bit wrong too, because there was a section of time through here where I was looking for the short, but I disregarded it completely after this candle formed because I only like to do two-leg pullbacks that fail off the moving average, not three. But this was two because the way that I count them, this was the first attempt to make a low, so that's the low one. We made a high. This next attempt to make a low under these candles didn't go higher first, so this is all still inside price action for me. So the next candle to actually make a low after making a high above the first attempt wasn't till here. So that was the low 2 entry, and same thing, right? You get your two-legged pullback to the moving average, market comes down, you take it out on extension right there, or trailing your swing points. So if you were really greedy, you would have trailed swing point to here and then would have got stopped out as it came back up. Again, I would have taken it on extension, but so we have a missed trade here and a missed trade here. Two misses. Down through here, we were presented with potentially a two-legged pullback opportunity. Didn't quite make it to the moving average. And also we were at that point in time, the moving average was way up here. We were really, really extended and we had done multiple stair steps down. So each following stair step, I get more and more nervous about taking that lower without some form of pullback. And then when we got the two-legged pullback and it didn't happen right off the moving average, and also it didn't close cleanly by any means, there was no real signal. And we even had a one tick poke underneath the top that was just like screaming that it had engaged those guys who got short right there, and then start the squeeze out instantly. Because, I mean, the guy who taught me, or I learned his material, the entries for anybody who does my style, it's always that one tick above or below whatever you're using for a signal. So the fact that it went one tick below triggered technically the low 2 short, and then instantly went the other way, that was a huge signal that it was a trap. So not a good signal, clear trap kind of setting up, and we were already really extended. Everything made sense for some form of pullback. And that's exactly what happened once we regained the moving average. Same thing through here. This is a high one opportunity if I had a prerequisite, but I did not. So there was no trade entry here on this breakout above these insides because we were trying to regain that moving average. So the concept was there, the context was there, the understanding of what was happening was there, but that I have the 4 or 5 candles in a row, one timing, showing the trap traders are like actually stuck and they're going to get out at the first chance. No, I didn't. So no trade. But yeah, good reading, good understanding. But as far as how the strategies are developed right now, there was 2 clear entries and 2 misses. So that was the day finale. But yeah, be back at it first thing Monday morning. And I'm going to take some time this weekend and do some more reviewing over the last week and really show with these new updated strategies what should have happened this week, and hopefully that will grow my confidence a little bit more again to pull that trigger the way that I'm supposed to. I got to use the discipline muscle in both directions, not just to not do anything. That seems too easy. You need to be able to do something. But yeah, man, have a great day. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend, and be talking to you Monday, man. Take care.